So as you know, the Trump MAGA crowd has been jumping up and down, singing, dancing with joy because Elon Musk, the Tesla CEO, has joined their side and their team. However, they don't realize what Elon has in store for them, and in fact, it's going to blindside them and destroy their lives. I want to go through some things, guys, and let's jump right in. So first, this was Tesla Optimus. They were tweeting out, got a new hand for Black Friday. And essentially they're saying, hey, look at this robot, guys. It can play with your balls. Now, I understand there are certainly some tech bros out there and maybe some MAGA people out there like, man, the thing that was missing in my life is I need a robot to play with my balls. And maybe, you know, the people who are missing that robot, maybe there's gonna, you know, be an OnlyFans kind of channel where they can watch robots play with balls and people are gonna pay for that. You never know in this world. Even Elon Musk is saying Optimus will be like having your own personal C3PO and R2D2. So if you want the robot to talk to you in multiple languages or beep at you funnily while it touches your balls, hey, that might be for you. Everyone's got their thing. But I want to caution you because the reason why I'm saying that this is going to destroy the MAGA people's lives is because essentially Elon wants this robot to not just play with your balls, but actually replace you. And then what are you going to do? Because think about this. Many of the people who are essentially in the Trump MAGA camp, they're basically hurt and sad because the USA is deindustrializing, meaning that we just don't have that many factories as we used to, right? We don't have these kind of jobs for these kind of people. And they're complaining like, I want my job back. I want my factory job back. But then you got Elon Musk basically saying, hey, I'm going to build this army of robots that's going to replace you in that dangerous job at the factory. That's going to replace you as the, you know, gardener, the maid. I want this robot to take all of these sort of lower level jobs, just like apartheid, right? When Elon Musk grew up, where you had two different classes of people. Elon Musk wants to have this robot to take that sort of working class group, right? And that's your MAGA voters. So Elon Musk wants to replace you. And it's interesting that they're so supportive of this thing and like talking about how awesome it is. And then not only that, Elon Musk wants to build robots, right, to drive cars. And already, this is interesting, already the Business Insider just ran an article talking about how robot taxi drivers essentially are already hurting drivers today. Then you got a headline like this. It says, Uber and Lyft drivers say Waymo's robotaxis are hurting their earnings in Phoenix and LA. And the driver they talked to, he says there's increased competition. You got lower fares, right? Because you have more cars on the road essentially. So prices will go down. He's getting fewer tips from riders. You know, think about this. If a rider, say, is a human driver or robot driver and the robot driver you don't tip, maybe that becomes part of the culture of the riders is you're no longer tipping anymore. Like, well, I didn't tip my last robot driver, so maybe I don't need to tip the human driver. Like the psychology of not tipping starts to develop. The other thing too I was thinking about with this is kind of the business model for Waymo, and we'll see if Tesla goes a similar business model, is that they're essentially losing money for the, you know, first couple of years to get their, you know, business on the road. But Waymo is in a different position than Tesla. And essentially why? Waymo cares a lot more about safety than Tesla does. Waymo's cars cost around $100,000 each. Elon Musk is he's claiming they're going to be able to sell these things like at 30. So maybe their cost to make it will be, you know, 25 or something like that. But, you know, the question I pose to you is, do you really think Tesla can make the same kind of car in quality and in functionality at 1/4 the cost? Now, the obvious answer is no. No, they can't, because essentially Waymo has sensors, right? Tesla's trying to do this thing with cameras only, and their solution is AI, guys. It's AI, cameras and AI, and we're gonna, you know, be 4 times better. Essentially, is what they're trying to say than Waymo, which I think, in my opinion, is a bunch of hooey. But let's say, for example, in some magical world that Tesla's able to get their technology to work. There's a couple other really interesting hurdles to talk about with this sort of taxi market or robot market to replace you, is what kind of rides are you going to be giving? So right now, Waymo, one of the reasons why they're losing money is essentially they only do like short, really local trips. They're not allowed at the airport. Now, it depends what city. So I was looking at this. I think they can go to the airport in Phoenix, I believe. But Los Angeles and San Francisco, they're not allowed. And they're actually giving quite a lot of rides, Waymo. It's 100,000 rides a week. But as these sort of rides ramp up, I think many of the drivers, like human drivers, will start to complain. And from the politician perspective, right? It'll be interesting to where essentially like, okay, so which tech company is going to bribe whatever politician to pass regulations through, which is essentially what Elon Musk is trying to do, right? Regulations meaning that right now in many cities, a robot driver essentially is not allowed at the airport. So that will be big turn for robot driving. That's something that you want to be on the watch out for is when they'll be allowed at the airport, because those are the profitable rides. Those are the longer rides, right? Effectively, if you're only doing short rides, so this is sort of one of the reasons why Waymo loses money, and they're losing like anywhere from like 1 to 2 billion a year. That's hard to know exactly because it's not public, but it's in that ballpark where it's a lot of money that they lose. But one of the main reasons is well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is that they're not doing the profitable trips. Like the airport runs tend to be longer, right? And if you're just doing a bunch of short runs, you're losing a bunch of time just waiting for the rider to come to the car, dropping off the rider, etc., opposed to picking up a rider and then maybe driving half an hour or whatever and then dropping them off. The other thing that I was thinking about as well is this is a quote. It says, as technology gets better and cheaper, drivers will feel it in their wallets. We've seen this movie before when Uber first showed up. It reduced traditional taxi drivers' earnings by about 10%. That was coming from a professor at Oxford, and he was essentially saying if this does happen, right? You're let's say the human drivers are still on the road, but their earnings are definitely going to take a hit. Now, I'm just talking about robot driving here. Just imagine if Elon has his way, and theoretically, in some magical world, because we're just playing this scenario out, that his robots can take the factory floor, right, and they can do the same work as humans. So then, what do you think that's going to do to human pay levels? Because remember, the idea is that the more supply of something, in this situation, the more supply of workers, then essentially that suppresses wages, right? And goes back to think about all of these MAGA voters. What do they want? They want jobs, be it in their factories, right? And they want higher wages to keep up with inflation. The things that Elon Musk is essentially proposing and pushing is basically working against that, right? Listen to this. This is Elon Musk. He says, I think by 2040, probably there are more humanoid robots than there are people. Every country will have an AI or multiple AIs, and there will be a lot of robots, way more robots than people. That's Elon Musk talking about the future. And again, what's like one of the primary reasons that MAGA people are voting for Trump? Because they say, oh, I want jobs, I want more money, right? Yes, also too, they say I want to kick out all those brown people. I understand that. That's also a big part of it. You can't leave that out. But the proposals that Elon Musk is saying is like, well, yeah, kick out all the workers because I got a whole workforce that I'm building up right now to replace workers, and this is what he promises, you're going to live the age of abundance, right? You're going to be so rich because he has robots. But like all these MAGA voters, how are they going to be rich if they don't have jobs and someone's actively looking to replace them? Like, think about that. Or actively looking to drive down their wages. It is let's be frank, it is a scary future for these kind of people. I know they're not going to see it. They'll just say, I just want to own the libs, right? I just want to vote the MAGA land. I want to own the libs. And I'm so happy Elon is supportive of owning the libs, right? Now, to be fair, Elon Musk is actually not alone. McKinsey has an interesting perspective on this also. They say here, by 2030, activities that account for up to 30% of hours currently worked across the US economy could be automated. Then it says here, a trend accelerated by generative AI. So Elon's saying more robots than people. McKinsey's saying, hey, a lot of the functions at work are going to be automated. Where does that leave the MAGA voters, right? where does that leave them? That's a question I pose to you. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, but in my opinion, the support of Elon Musk is going to hurt them and destroy their lives, and they're not going to see it coming, even though they're celebrating robots playing with their balls. So thanks again for watching, everyone, and I'll catch you in the next video.